Hello, witchy people. YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018, the Pagan A to Z, and this evening I am doing the letter F. I've chosen F and folklore because it plays a huge part in the way I practice my craft and in who I am. I base a lot of my spell works and such like on old folklore, and I think it's very relevant to the way I do things. Um, it is kind of hard to explain. Um, I find a lot of sense in old folklore, and there is a lot of sense in old folklore. We still use a lot of things, and we are rediscovering a lot of things. I mean, okay, going back many, many years ago, or when I was pregnant with my son, and he's in his 30s now, I was told don't eat green potatoes. Never eat a green skinned potato whilst you're pregnant. And that's what I did. That's what my gran told me, so that's what I did. Never ate green skinned potato. And going back a few years ago, it's about 2 or 3 years ago, there was this huge thing in the papers about, oh, there's something in the green skin of potatoes that's really bad for you if you're pregnant. So there's a lot of that sort of like old wives' tales and folklore that is still really relevant. And if you go back to folk names for herbs and flowers and such like, they have those folk names for a reason. Partly obviously it's for the properties that they had. I'm trying to think of an example. Clary sage. Clary sage was called clear eye because if you crushed the seeds up, it made like this gel stuff, and they used it to wash bits and pieces out of your eyes to make your eyes clear so you could see again. It was also used for healing and such like. So if you had a fever and you're delirious with fever, they gave you clary sage, and it helped you become. It cleared your eyes, so your eyes weren't cloudy and everything else. You became coherent. Uh, so there's a lot in folklore and folk names that's really relevant, and obviously herbalists and such like of old, and I don't mean like old like me, I mean hundreds of years ago, you know, had secret names for herbs because if they told everything to everybody, then they wouldn't be revered as they were for a while. The old wise woman was there, and if she told everyone everything, then what would be the point of having her around? They could all do it themselves. How would she get paid with wood in the winter and such like if she let all her secrets out? So she'd had secret names for herbs and plants. I think one was tansy. The tansy flower was called Hindhill, and which represented a stag's back leg or a stag's hoof. So a stag's hoof. Well, that would be the tansy plant. See what I mean? So you had all these secret names. So the old village wise woman could keep her craft secret to herself and only pass it on to who she wanted to pass it on to, and earn her living, basically. So there's a lot there in folklore and folk names, even to the point where most of us have craft names, magical craft names, witch names, and this was once again to keep our true selves and our magical selves separate, so that we could practice witchcraft in secret if we needed to be, kept safe that way. I'm going off point here slightly, but you see what I mean. Folklore is incredibly important to the way that I craft it, to spellwork, to magic, and of course in that folklore are folk names, flora, fauna, and such like. One of my favourite books actually, and I love this book. This is Trevor Beer's Country Folklore and Legend. I love this book because it's written like he's taking a walk, and it's like, oh look, sort of we're walking this way, and there's a stag over there, or there's a fox over there, or we're just going to near someone's pond and there's a toad, and he tells you some of the folklore about these animals, plants, and such like. One of my favourite was something about an onion. I wonder if I can find it. It's something about how, depending on how thick or thin the onion skin was, would depend on, here we go, on the weather. Onion skin very thin, mild winter coming in. Onion skin thick and tough, coming winter cold and rough. You know, and these were really useful things for people. You know, before we had, you know, meteorology and weathermen, we had to, you know, oh look, the cows, all the cows laying down in the field, it's going to rain. You know, that was one of the things. And if your onion skin's very thin, we're going to have a mild winter. If your onion skin is really thick, it's going to be a really harsh winter. And these things actually were pretty reliable for the most part. So I like that. I like how, I like trying to keep some of these old folklores and superstitions and such like alive. So folklore is my letter F for the YouTube Pagan Challenge 2018. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now. Witchy people.